dare to freakishly dream, because nobody else will do it for you. And I'm gonna tell you, I had a great conversation with a young guy, totally focused on the corporate world. If you ever watch this, you know how I think about things, and also always speak straightforward. And you know, we have very great conversations if you ever see this video. This guy, corporate, focused, accountant. I'm gonna change a little bit the age, 22. The thing is, young guy, but already focused on pretty much get a job, mortgage, including the girlfriend, and then simply head towards the 10 years of, let's say, consuming medicines, and then simply step in the grave. And the thing is, that sounds all great for normal people. But let's say it like this: if you're always surrounded by people who don't dare to dream, dare to step outside the normality, dare actually to cut off the garbage, which means people who would never inspire you or encourage you to do anything with their lives. So I had a talk with this guy. I said, what if you would have all the time of the world? What would you do? What would you do now? What would you do now? Ask yourself also the question, what would you do now if you had all the time? You don't have to be anywhere. You just live like me. I do everything from the phone. I'm operating in multiple countries, multiple genders, multiple age groups, so I'm very versatile. Not to brag, I'm 47. Took me decades to get to this point in my life. So, what I actually told this guy, or asked this guy, what would you do if you had all the free time in the world? And this is the thing about asking questions, right? A lot of normal people don't ask people the questions, and also always think that it's so intrusive to them, because what would they think? Maybe they get angry at me, and or, you know, and most people wouldn't even have the real interest in other people, because they're too busy with living their own rat race, and which is normal, understandable, totally. Sometimes I even envy people who can just sit in the front of the television eating chips and you know, looking for the remote control, and just you know, go from miniserie to miniserie. Sometimes I really envy that, but I'm not like this. I'm 47, I'm going full throttle every day, 18 hours a day. So I asked the guy, what would you do? First thing what he said, and I'm gonna stay silent for a couple of seconds so you can actually think also what you would do. What would you do if you had all the free time? You can go wherever you want. Take maybe your spouse with you, but let's say take care of yourself first, so you can start taking care of the people around you. Not financially in the first place. First of all, you know, get your household in order and actually provide some value. You know, that you speak something new, bring something new, experiences, new thoughts to the table. So what would you do? Well, he said in the first place, very quickly, I would be going to a country. He actually mentioned Greece, and I would go chilling. I said, okay, that's probably the reason that the universe also doesn't provide you with any opportunities. That of course goes hand in hand with a lot of other, you know, characteristics. You know, you take it easy, going on holidays, vacations, and taking weekends. That is all fine. But I asked more. So I also said it actually, you know, the universe, you know, sees that you won't do anything besides chilling, so you won't get those opportunities. So I asked, what would you really do? And then he said, I would talk with the people. See, now we're going somewhere. He said, I would start speaking with the people a little bit, maybe a little bit fishing. Okay, still chill. I said, what do you really want to do? Just spit it out. I'm not judgmental, just speak it. Just speak it. We live now in a moment, and you know that I am very flexible and versatile, and you know, I'm trying to pull something out of you. And then he actually said, maybe I would start writing a book. And he actually said very specifically, a dark rom-com. So maybe I'm also going to put this over here, because in this video, for me, this whole vlogging thing is simply also journaling, you know, so I can maybe refer back to some points. I really said this. So the thing is, so he said I would write a dark rom-com. So I said that is pretty specific. So the thing is, I said, why don't you? The thing is, I actually never think about that kind of stuff. The thing is, maybe you should. And the thing is, he is already pretty much every day busy with reading. So there is something boiling. Now think about this. You would have something that you're busy with as a hobby, you don't make money with it. I'm the kind of guy who pulls out something out of you and you can monetize along the way, but perhaps this guy won't do it. But the thing is, he was considering, or he pulled out that he was, he would write a rom-com, a dark romance book. Great. So the thing is, and then I look at his age, 22. The thing is, I always include a couple of failures. So you write one book, second book, third book, and the fourth book hit. This guy is from New York. I said, what if you would be the next New York bestseller guy? Dream big. Dream big. I dream for you. I want to pull it out of you. I said, what if, you come up with a pseudonym. I don't know how to pronounce the word, so you have to write a name. But the thing is, your third or your fourth book will hit. What if? What if? But what if you also don't try? What if you reach 65 years old, you never tried? What if you think about this conversation with me that you had, a person, who pulls out the best out of people and probably also the worst? But the thing is, that is simply part of my skills. But the thing is, think about it. Think about all yourself. And when it's also about being an accountant. So he studied, I don't know what, 4 years for this thing. But I also thought about this. So now you need your job to monetize the stuff. You need a little bit of roof above your head. But I feel he still lives with his parents. So the roof is already settled. Next to that, food in his stomach. Done deal. The thing is, he stays actually 21 days in this Airbnb where I am. The thing is, in 21 days, he could set up the following. So for example, you're an accountant. You don't have to be the best one. The only thing that you need is be capable of curating content. I'm going somewhere with this because I see everything in structure. You can be in any kind of profession and you want to give the middle finger to a boss. That's possible, what I'm going to explain you now. So for example, an accountant, his traject would be, going to the job, he's going back to the job, and then he has to work from 9 to 5, and then actually, totally mind-numbed, and then watching the television and fall asleep. Now think about this. You are an accountant. You are a little bit familiar with the regulations. You're dealing with regulations. So what if you would create and distribute content, which would lead to accountant firms? So you would generate the leads for accountant firms. Yeah, but then I get in the lead generation thing. That's not what I want. The thing is, you would first of all implement your skill in an asset that you would actually own. You can monetize it the way you see fit and also when you want it. And the more effort you put in it, the bigger it gets. That's another thing. A lot of people just do things willy-nilly, but I would say just create, distribute the content with the scenarios that I give away for free, and it works for any kind of industry. You always need to think a little bit like this. You anyway already in the mindset of working for a boss, a slave master. Your slave master, the only reason that he can pay you is simply because you get underpaid and he monetizes your skill. Now let that sink in for a while. So while you're actually doing your mind-numbing job, what if you would challenge yourself and create the content and distribute the content with the scenarios that I'm giving you for free? You give away everything for free. You will get, you would be able to build an audience that is interested in your industry. In this case, it would be accountant. Why is it important that you have somewhat some interest and or even an education towards that direction, so you can curate and optimize the content? That uniqueness will create more engagement with your content. So once you got a little bit of an audience, you could say, hey, I got 10,000 people in my audience, all interested in accountant stuff. So how would you do this in the most normal people way? How to save money in the supermarket, how to save money, I don't know what, groceries, how to save money, etc. Come up with all the kind of things. You can roll out within 1 hour tons and tons of directions. How to save money, we all understand. Normal people want to save money. You build audiences. There you go. At one point when you got, and also save money for businesses. And just you simply need to choose a direction. Like law, you're going to be a criminal lawyer. How to save your own ass. you understand where it goes. The thing is, you build the audiences. The moment that you do have those audiences, you still have your own job. You don't have to tell anybody about it. You create the audience. The moment that you hit the 10,000 audiences, you know, the size, you can start providing, I don't know what, download this ebook for free with my personal top 10 of things. So they build trust with you. You maybe upload a couple of videos so people can see that you're a real human being. Interaction. Yeah, but Alan, I don't like to interact with people and I actually hate people. Yeah, okay, that's pretty much the end of the road. But let's assume that you don't want at 65 that you think, oh my god, I actually could have done more with my life. So let's get back to this accountant guy. You know, he could do this audience thing, but he also could straight away, now, today, not next year, not tomorrow, not next hour, open a Google Doc and just start fantasizing about his book that he would or could start writing. Just drop thoughts. Just drop thoughts. I'm dropping thoughts in Google Docs for decades. Not only decades, you know, I started journaling from when I was 9. I was always obsessed with it, so that's another thing. But think about it, you know, even so that's actually a funny thing. And then I'm also going to stop this live stream. I don't want to rattle now because there's a lot of people. Oh shit, there's also another person now. The thing is, you simply have to open a little bit the gates in your brain. Hey, this is possible. Yes, it feels new. It feels new, but just do it. Just do it. Open a Google Doc, any kind of direction you're in. And this accountant is the most basic thing. You know, you go to law school, you know, you want to go to work in a law firm? Yeah, but you have to. But okay, I know, but I worked with law firms in another country. But anyway, so I have somewhat the knowledge, but I know how to build the audiences. As a lawyer, if you are educated as a lawyer, you would know much better. But still, I created the 10,000 plus audiences. So if you have the knowledge, you can do probably way much better than me. What can you do with audiences? No, you can do, for example, personal guidance. Maybe you do online calls. People with legal problems, they can hit you up on Zoom or whatever. Use Google Meet. First you do it for free, then you collect a couple of reviews, and then people will just pay you for it along the way. And before you know, you're running your own little tiny mini you law firm. Just for you, it's yours. You're not going somewhere else and get monetized by another person or people that take advantage of you. You do something for yourself. It's way much more fulfilling. And of course, in the beginning, you won't earn a lot of money, but that's why you keep your mind-numbing job first. But at least you got something to look forward to. You know, if you're always okay, now I got 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and then it's pretty much drinking until I drop, or do other mind-numbing stuff, you know, drink beer and barbecue until you pass out. All fun, but at one point you will reach 65, you need a couple of medications, and then you're already in the system, the last stage. You know, you need those medications because otherwise your stomach, all kind of things popping up, because yeah, you didn't have the free time, or also not the character, you know, that got constantly fired up. Because again, when it's about this accountant guy, his deep desire is to write his own dark romance. So what if he just opens a Google Doc? It can be as simple, just get started, you know, just open a Google Doc and just start dropping thoughts, slowly dropping thoughts. And I actually, you know, I always like to make a little bit mini agreements. So I said, you know, if you would be a writer, what would be your pseudonym? You know, I don't know how to pronounce the word, but that you have some kind of you know, name that you operate under, right? So he said, yeah, I'm going to think about that. But you know what? That sounds, again, very childish and whatever. You know, you try to challenge people. That's not really fun. You have to leave people alone. You know, the guy was actually happy. You know, he actually thought about it. You know, maybe I'm going to think about it. Can be as easy, just when it's also writing a book, to get the knowledge. See, this is what I always, what I noticed. People do have deep desires. I also said it yesterday. The thing is, they don't know how to put it in structure, and I do. And that sounds very cocky and blah blah blah. No, I do this for a long time, and I'm genuinely interested in people, you know, without actually gaining anything. What would I gain from this? The thing is, what I think is very interesting, because he's a little bit on a crossroads, maybe, because he's gonna think about the way I speak to people. People will remember. And the thing is, and this is again not to brag, but I think it's also really important to sometimes have a little bit external influence that maybe directs you in another way of thinking. Start with just thinking, and don't blame yourself for only thinking. You know, people think, oh yeah, but if I only think and don't do, you think I'm a loser. I think you're a loser if you don't even think. And not, you know, just saying that, put things a little bit in balance over here. But the thing is, it can be, when it's about this book guy and his accountant, who his biggest desire, one of his biggest desires is simply writing a book. Open a Google Doc, just start dropping. You know, if I would have these desires, and he likes to chill, I said, instead of chilling, why don't you write for 1 hour all kind of titles, or fantasize about the titles, you know, for the book, and then maybe a series, a thriller, a trilogy. You never know. If you don't spend time with yourself on, you know, let's say your deepest desires, and explore them, you know, without judgment, and also don't be ashamed to go all overboard. They're still desires, maybe some fantasies. Just go all in and just observe your own fantasies and desires. I think that is very important to do, because, and then the structure is a later thing. But first, open the gates between your ears. You know, convince yourself that it is somewhere possible. There's, you know, if you also look at other people, everybody is a human being. You know, everybody poops and pees and opens their eyes in the morning, or whenever they open their eyes, you know. So it can be done, but you have to start first. Allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself actually to go all overboard, you know, with your fantasies, whatever you think. You know, in the past, you know, because some people know what I'm busy with, and you guys will also know along the way, because I drip feeding everything. But the thing is, and I'm not in a hurry with showing you guys a lot of stuff. Not at all. The thing is, what I always like to do, share my thoughts, share my experiences, always based upon reality, give away my work structures, so you can monetize along the way. And not only this, also build something while you're actually working for a master, so you got a little bit something to look forward to. What if, you know, just also consider that you would fail. And this is the thing, what the hell, at least if you failed, who cares? Maybe your father, your mother, or your friends, they will say, haha, what an idiot. They're just saying, I'm happy that you didn't rise above us. Never underestimate that. Anyway, I really want to drop this thought, because for me this video is going to be a journaling thing. The guy is 22. What if, you know, at 35, you know, I would see him somewhere on Amazon bestsellers, that he chose the direction. You know, that is the thing. I just show people a little bit the way. I can, you know, if he would be really into it. See, and that's why I also share things on the video. 0.0001% of the people on this planet will actually take action. But, you know, maybe only 10% fantasizes, and then maybe 5% of those 10%, they start fantasizing and observing their own fantasies, and then maybe get into action. That's why I do it like this, because this guy probably, I hope I'm totally wrong, and that is the most satisfying thing about what I'm doing, you know. See, that is another thing. So first of all, yeah, if he would be successful, you know, when he's 35, he actually chose the path, you know, because he's now, let's say, some sort of crossroads. That's how I would see it. But like I said, you know, if he would be really into it, then he would ask me, could you give me a structure how to monetize, you know, the things and build assets what you're doing, you know, because then you would, people who ask the questions, they got my attention. But this person, you know, at least he's open for the thought of it, you know. And then I try to sketch the picture, you know, what if, you know, because the guy is from New York, and the thing is, what if you had a New York bestseller from this and this town. I'm just fantasizing for him, actually. You know, I made up a whole story. I cannot recall every single word. You know, that he writes. You know, I also said, you know, maybe the first 2-3 books you will fail, and then maybe the third or the fourth, you know, maybe is a winner. But in the meantime, you do your normal job. But once you got the winner, you can give the middle finger to your master, and actually do what you want, and actually go with whatever you want to do. That's what I also said, you know, because he said first I want to, when I got all the time in the world, then I would start chilling. See, that's the reason. If you say those things up loud, you know, you tell the universe, you need to give me all the freedom, because I will start chilling and actually more or less waste my time. So, you know, I think also the universe is not granting any kind of opportunities. It doesn't open the doors of opportunities for people who say, no, I'm gonna get when I get all the money, I'm gonna bash my nose full with all kind of stuff, and then bang all kind of strippers and I don't know what. I don't think that the universe would say, no, yeah, you know what, give this guy a shot. And this is of course extreme, but I think I need sometimes to say some extreme things so people understand what I mean, because this is another thing. A lot of people, I think, feel also ashamed to say what they want, even if it's not you know, tangible or in the nearby future possible. But writing a book can be done now. You can start thinking about your titles. Doesn't matter if it sounds fluffy, nobody sees it. Just start writing down. Also, when it's, even if, let's say it like this, you don't know what to do, I always tell people, you know, start writing down all the things that you don't want. Just start, open a Google Doc, just every time when you sit on a bench, like I do now. I'm just dropping this video, you know, no editing thing, no nothing. I just drop these thoughts. Maybe there's one person on this planet thinks, yeah, what the hell? You know, I'm gonna open this Google Doc. It's anyway coming with for free 15 gigabytes Google Drive. So that's a lot of words, by the way. I got a 5 terabyte one, but I'm obsessed with a lot of stuff, and I give AI chat access to 2.1 terabytes, so people can actually talk with me. But this is another thing. We're not getting into this. The thing is, Google Drive, install the Google Doc app, because that's what you need, and you put it on a shortcut on your screen, and you just, all the thoughts, maybe, you know what, just start with a very general file, all the things that you're not happy with on a daily basis, bam, all the things that you do love, bam, drop it in, all the thoughts that maybe, you know, after 10 years, how do you see yourself, and then just sit with the file and then ask yourself the question, is that the direction when I wake up when I'm 65 that I'm going to be happy that I reach this? That's another thing, right? People constantly talk about goals and all that bullshit. Have some sort of direction and set the habits. So when it's about habits, when it's about writing a book, I think it would be good. And he has the habits. He reads a lot. He reads a lot of philosophy. So he has some sort of habits. But those can be increased. You know, for me, I would say get rid of the chilling, increase brain power with you know, some exercise, and maybe change a little bit the feeding thing. But that would be me. But I'm not him. You understand what I mean? So there are levels to the game, but at least open the gates in your own thing, in your own thoughts. I think that also makes you a little bit more fresher. You know, that you at least have something to fantasize about. Something. The Google Doc is something tangible. Just open the Google Doc, and every time that you feel a little bit miserable, depressed, or whatever you feel, then you look at the thing and then you said, okay, maybe this is not the right way going. Then list your habits. You know, you look at all your habits. Think. Is this actually does this make me feel good mentally, physically? Do these kind of habits make the people around me, do they feel good about this or whatever? And go and observe yourself. Just observe yourself. Observe your thoughts. Don't walk around constantly with your headphones or scroll through TikTok watching cats chasing their tails, or send other people videos because you don't have anything to say. That's another thing. A lot of people just send me videos and then mess up my whole algorithm. The thing is, that's because you don't have anything else to bring to the table. But the moment that you start observing your thoughts, you know, and at one point you speak it up loud, and you know what? By speaking up loud what you actually want, and the people who would say no, oh, you're a total idiot, you're not gonna do it, then you already know those people you shouldn't be around. because those people don't have the best intention, and trust me, the majority of people sitting with people, they don't want you to succeed, or they want to keep you where you are so they feel good about what they are doing. Trust me. I'm 47, I do this game a long time, obsessively. I'm not the kind of guy you would see laying down on the beach for hours and eat from my nose. Never have been and never will be. You could maybe find me on the beach when I'm for certain reasons in a specific country, but that's the only time maybe I'm gonna get hammered. If I do relaxing time, if I would, then I need to be so hammered that at least I cannot move anymore. Of course I would move, but the thing is, you understand that I also had one of those habits when I was, let's say, 10 years ago. Most people have the energy level, and they came with a whole package, and they have the energy level of I don't know what, a snail. And the thing is, when I met with those people, I was always drinking beer, simply because, to lower my energy. But it also worked totally not in my benefits, and also not their benefits. So and like I always say, alcohol and drugs is nice. It is nice. I use boatloads of those things. But the thing is also, when it's about using and abusing stuff in order to sync with people, is always the worst decision. Just sharing. Got nothing to hide. I'm 47, lived a very colorful life, and just going full throttle in. If somebody failed a lot, and then publicly also, also end up a few times on the benches over here or somewhere inside, forced. Anyway, besides that, we're not getting into this. Just dare to dream. Dare to dream. Just no matter what it is. And the thing is, if it will cost you a relationship, so be it. So be it. Deepest desires, just throw them on the table. And that's also one of the reasons. I always end up, let's say it like this, with when it's about women, then I always end up with people, in the entertainment business, the majority of the people, because they're simply very open-minded, and also the energy is way much higher. That is also what I really like, and the background is always a little bit more colorful. But also, when it's about colorful backgrounds, what I also like is that they embraced it. There are a lot of people from specific countries, they cry about that their grandmother died. The more you go to the West, the more they cry about things that are actually normal people things. And with all the respect, I live for 30 years in Holland. I know tons and tons of people also in Holland. They take over the business of their father, and they just come up with all kind of fantasy stories just to fill up a little bit the color. That means people need to put some color into their lives, because they simply don't have the balls that come up with lies. And it's not only about Holland, by the way. A lot of normal Western countries. I lived over there, so I can talk about it, and especially the richer ones. And Holland is not. I lived also in Malta. Anyway, we're not going to get into this. The thing is, I also operate in Malta. I actually love Malta, but I'm in Bulgaria because I love Bulgaria. For a lot of reasons. One of the main thing is, for me, common sense. And a lot of people might think, okay. Along the way, when reality starts knocking, and that is what I try to make people aware of. I'm 47, everybody is already dead and gone. My adoption parents, they died. My mother died when I was 29. And then my father, I think it was 31. Now I'm 47. The thing is, I'm not saying this to put myself in the boo-hoo corner with the woolen sweater. No. I can speak like this, and this is another thing. I embrace everything that is given to me. Or taken. But when it's taken, it means also my growth started already 17 years ago. When it's about this. When I knocked on the door at 11 to clean a bicycle, my growth for getting, interacting with people and, providing a service. I was cleaning bicycles, over the years. Now I'm 47. So if you start selling when you're 30, what do you think? Who is ahead of the game? And this is the thing. Yes, you can run in a suit, lick ass, set up an office, have a billboard on the side. And the thing is, a lot of people say, "Oh, you got it all together." But I know a lot of people who walk around in suits, and when they come home and the woman speaks up a little bit, they cry their fucking eyes out. So you have to, what I always like to, and again, a lot of people wouldn't understand, but you have to see where is the leverage. So when they speak about an office, who has the leverage? The landlord. When they run around in their lease car, who has the leverage? Now yeah, you can see where it goes. if you have to wear a suit because otherwise you don't make sales, because you have to represent yourself like this, who has the leverage? Not you. If you have to dress up a certain way, you're actually practicing the oldest profession in the world. And you do the same. You dress up for money, not because you love it. A lot of people who actually run around in suits and lake ass, they're not 100% behind it. How do I know this? Simply call them at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. They're not going to speak full throttle about what they're doing. No, not now, because now I'm sleepy. No, you can call me at 3 o'clock. I have actually this morning at 3 o'clock a video call. But anyway, I am also obsessed, and I also don't dance to anybody else's flute. But this is the thing. I lost a couple of times everything. I did the offline businesses. I managed tons of people the wrong way, but I still did it. I failed a lot. But now I'm 47 doing everything from the phone. And I can do everything from the phone, and you too. A 12-year-old can do it. And just rewind this video, I do a very simple example, how you can start building an audience around your profession, around the things that you want, and still doing your mind-numbing job. But in the meantime, you got things over here percolating. Stimulate the brain. Everything what you don't lose, you don't use, you lose. Muscles, brain capacity. And you might think, yeah, but Alan, I'm very smart. Okay, you're very smart, but you're working for a master, so you're not that smart. Just saying how it is. And this is not to disrespect. The society needs people. And people like us, we need you. So that's why we also can sell, I don't know what. I'm not going to get into this thing now, because I'm giving everything away for free. The case studies are visible within a few days. But I already said this a few weeks ago. But the thing is, that's the thing. I'm giving everything away for free. So I don't, if I would sell a $27 course, hey, let me tell you this. If I wanted to sell $27 bullshit courses like those sellers, and they come in a Lamborghini or whatever, that bullshit. The thing is, what I could do, because I operate in Malta. I go to Malta. I'm sitting every day on a boat. I make a video every day, 1 hour live streaming on a boat. So now I would hobbling around on the water. And you know what? For not for educational purposes, but entertainment purposes, I would drink a colorful drink. It's not real alcohol, but I would say cocktail. I put a laptop, so I attract all the digital nomad idiots. The thing is, so they would buy the course. And in the meantime, they get heavily disappointed, because in the first place, I don't want to attract those people. Or the glintering, the new shiny object people, because they're not going to put in the work. There's another guy, he does it very smart. He comes to Bulgaria, he drives around in a couple of Lamborghinis and then goes away again. He doesn't do anything for the country. I'm telling you. The thing is, he hypes up a little bit the poor people, and they think, yeah, okay, now buy the course, fail of course, and the thing is, then they move on. And what is the value for this guy? Yeah, he has a little bit of attention. Maybe he get a little bit of an award or something. The people who are also into awards, all fun. Of course, you got the Pulitzer prizes and all that kind of stuff, different level. But you know what? All those corporate rewards, they're just like stickers in a book. When you go to school when you're 6 years old and you wrote a great sentence or whatever you did, and you gotta get a sticker in your book. Bullshit, just an adult version. So anyway, not talking down, I just try to pull something out of you. That's what I would like. And then once you more hit, or let's say it like this, you open the floodgates of thoughts, and then you would think, hey, I got all kind of thoughts going on now, because I start writing for 7 days in a Google Doc. 7 days. So 7 days when you open the floodgates, and then you would think, yeah, no, I have a lot of stuff, and that confuses me. Embrace confusion. Confusion is good. Confusion is a good moment, because then you feel there is, it's like a muscle. When you, let's say, heavier weight, or you do 100 pull-ups extra, your whole back is sore. That is the same. Your brain. Make it difficult for it. Just start thinking, and especially when you never used it. It needs to form again all kind of synapses between all those cells. And when you open this Google Doc again, you get also maybe a little bit depressed, because you actually see your life on paper or on a Google Doc, and you think, shit, this is all the stuff that I'm doing on a daily basis. A little bit PlayStation, a little bit Netflix or whatever. And then I always ask the other question, what do you want to have on your graveyard stone? Bam, bam, bam. Okay. He was a great guy. He always paid his mortgage on time. He played PlayStation, watches all the Netflix stories, but he can never mention anyone. And then also another thing. No. Sounds very disrespectful, huh? Yeah, I know, but that's reality. I wouldn't like to die like this. You know, when I would die, the thing is, I'm gonna crawl under a rock and nobody will know that I died. Okay, my trusted circle will, but who gives a shit? When you're dead, it's over. And yeah, you can reincarnate maybe as a chicken, and then you end up in the oil in I don't know what, a Kentucky Fried Chicken burger, for example. I don't know if you believe in reincarnation. I don't, but if you do, don't come back as a chicken. If you're gonna make it to a chicken, you should be already happy that you passed by. You passed the being an egg. All the levels of a chicken is for consumption fantastic, right? Eggs. Yeah, I don't know what. So just start doing something. Every time when you think you need to chill a little bit, stop with the chilling. Chilling is for people who are sitting in elderly homes. When you're sitting in a wheelchair in an elderly home and you almost shit in your pants every single day. Now maybe then it's time to chill. Relax. Let it run. Who gives a shit? But if everything below 50 and you think you need to fucking chill, for what? For what? Well, what is chilling? Because you simply don't have the fuel, or because you consume all kind of bullshit? And again, I'm not saying this to disrespect you. I think when you would have a higher level of energies, everything with your spouse would also be better. And of course, all the guys that maybe look now at the videos, yeah, but I'm banging her for 3 hours, and I'm putting the work in. I make her come and squirt every single second. Okay, great. But if you would have more energy, you would even do more. I'm just saying. So, try to dream. Start dreaming. And not that you close your eyes and fall asleep and then wake up, and don't do anything. Just open a Google Doc. Look at the white thing. Don't go all crazy, A lot of people who don't continue with their scrolling and mindless chatting. How are you doing? Good. Yeah, me too. Check. Waiting for 5 minutes because people chatting with other people. And then share a couple of funny videos, hoping that they respond with thumbs up, smiley face, or whatever. We know how it works. Anyway, what I always try to pull out is, try to be a little bit more valuable to the world so you live a more fulfilled life. Do it for selfish reasons. Listen to my bullshit just for selfish reasons. Maybe I should think a little bit more about my own fantasies. Maybe I should listen to my own desires. Just say it. Just say it. And even if you wouldn't open the Google Doc, just say it in the mirror. Maybe I should listen to my desires. I should take a little bit time off. Just listen to my own desires. What do I really want? And not in a way that they asked on the bullshit schools. What do you want? You have to choose now a direction. Fuck off. Just think about what you really want. And something that is totally out of the ordinary. Like this accountant guy, what he really wants is to write a dark rom-com. That's what he wants. And I want him to start doing this. I would love to see it. Let's say it like this. Don't force anybody to do anything. And I do care. Because this is the thing. I always imagine people then, in general, when I meet people, I always see what they would be capable if they would go outside of normality. And people, along the ways, I'm doing this for a long time, people do come to me and they say, yeah, I actually tried this. And a lot of people, the majority of people simply don't do anything. And a lot of people would judge me then, yeah, but why do you waste all that time? I'm anyway doing this for a living. Anyways, I got 18 hours a day. I'm going full throttle every single day. I speak like a fucking idiot for now at least 12 hours per day. I'm doing some of the live streams, just drop it over there, create a little bit of title, a little bit of thumbnail. For me, I'm also not going to put a lot of time in it. I'm not going to research all the thumbnails so I dance according to the algorithm. Because then again, I would be a slave of something. I just drop my thoughts, maybe it get picked up, maybe not. But, this is also my thought. After 25 years, probably I will still do it. Maybe you're not gonna make it after. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. My mind is like this. I'm just sharing along the way because the last time that I lost everything I was 41. Now I'm 47. Now I reached the level that we're in an upscaling phase, and along the way I just share everything. And when I'm 50, so those books that I'm sharing, the Lemon Regime, Awaken Your Inner Strength, Lemon Regime, Awaken Your Outer Strength, so that is physically and mentally. And then I got 100 ways to get more clients and 100 ways to improve the value of your clients. So there's the whole shebang, physically, mentally, business-wise. So what do you need more from life? I don't think you need more. Okay, here and there a little bit of a beer, but don't overdo it, says me. People who know me, they know what I used to consume, but now I'm only 1 or 2 times a week. Anyway, besides that, now I'm going to the Rakowski Stadium just to make myself suffer every single day, 365 days a year, bam, 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 bam. And from tomorrow I start running again. I had to stop running for 7 days now. Maybe even 8 days, simply because I really overdid it, and my feet had to recover. Bullshit? No, not bullshit. Trust me. But I'm not gonna show my feet. Anyway, let's close this live stream. Open the Google Doc. Do me a favor by doing yourself a favor. And you know what? Don't do it for you. Do it for the people that come after you. Like your children, do it for them, so they don't see your father with a beer belly shouting from the couch, "Hey, this is how you need to do a pull-up." How many times when I go somewhere, the father sits on the bench with a beer belly, shouts at his son that he is not doing his best to do a pull-up. I think by myself, show your son how it's done, then he would say the same. I also mentioned this example, I'm not gonna mention the location. The thing is, a father with his son playing the football, but he was forcing his son to do push-ups. So they were playing with the football thing, and then in the meantime, every time when he kicked the ball, he should do a push-up. Pretty good, but the thing is, the father wouldn't be capable of even kicking the ball. Yeah, with all the respect, lead by example. You cannot slam your fist on the table with a beer belly and tell the people no. Now you have to lose weight, right? Just saying. I think it's pretty common sense. But yeah, who am I? I'm just a random idiot who does everything from the phone at 47. Can be wherever the fuck he wants to be. And my leverage is in my pocket. And I'm also gonna share. Let's stop this live stream. The thing is, I'm gonna share the work structures when it's about, because now all those apps come online, and this is what happens. It's gonna be a disaster. A lot of freelancers start using those apps, providing services for local businesses to get a little bit fees. But all those the majority of those idiotic freelancers, they never ran a business by themselves. They don't know how the products feel, they smell. When the wholesale company runs in, you have to unpack the pallets with products. They don't know how it feels. They also don't know how it is to speak with the accountant about the products that are in stock. That kind of bullshit. Been there, done that, love it. Also had a bar. The thing is, when it's about a bar, that all those beer barrels roll out. That you serve the beer. Where at one point the beer was going bum 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 bum. Anyway, not bragging over here. I'm just sharing. I walked the offline road. I'm not like those digital idiot nomads who use some structure over and over without actually understanding that every business is just I see a business as an entity, as a character on itself. Everything get influenced by the circumstances, the people that you put in, all the ingredients, the products. Sometimes I walk into businesses, I think, why would you even select those products? Who is selecting these products? See, and then there's also the stores, like those chains, for franchise. The thing is, when you choose for a franchise, you got just a little bit more leveled up form of a job. It's all nice. You don't have marketing freedom, and not only this, you also don't have lead collection freedom. That always pisses me off. Really pisses me off. I know one guy, I spoke with him about it. He owns 3 shops, also a franchise thing. I said, if you start collecting all those leads and you put them in your own pocket and you market and cross market, upsells, downsales yourself those lists, he doesn't have to be over there. But now he has to visit every single day those messed up shops, and it's all good. The guy on top who created the whole chain of shops, yeah, he's great. But those people who he selects, also those are great people, but it's not good for you. The one who actually now watches my dumbass speaking about work structures that can be done from a phone. You don't need to slave away on a location. You also don't want this. And there's another thing. Yeah, but I don't believe in things online. No, the moment when the tractor came in, you think that the farmers who said, no, I'm not getting on those mechanical things, who do you think that had a better life? I think the people with the tractor. Yeah, but the other one is way much more fulfilling. Okay, yeah, see, if you're the kind of guy who always tries to dig out the stuff, all the reasons why you don't have to do it, that's good. But again, then it's about you. Just think a little bit, look around you. If you got a couple of children, I don't know what, look at them. Do it for them. And that Papa gets off his lazy ass. Yeah, but Papi works every day 12 hours. 12 hours. So there are 24 hours in a day. Yeah, but I sleep 8 hours. Yeah, then sleep a little bit faster, in the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger. But the thing is, I also sleep 5 hours a day. I'm also going full throttle. But there's also another side of the coin of this. But the thing is, you sleep a little bit faster or optimize your food. Get rid of also mind-numbing conversations with people, A lot of people also sit with people that talk about the government and all that kind of stuff. What I always say, if you like to talk about the government, shut up. Just put the work in and then try to get a seat over there. Yeah, but I don't want to be over there. No, then stop judging. You cannot change anything about it. Everything that you cannot change anyway, then stop talking about it, because it's simply just used as an excuse not to do what you're actually doing, but you're failing big time. You're just using them as a scapegoat. People need scapegoats. That's another thing. The majority of people who speak about other ethnicities or whatever, those people always steal and I don't know what. The majority of those people who speak over here the way they do about other people, they have always very low-level jobs. Just saying. They're not CEOs of big companies, or they run their own offline business or whatever. They're not into this. And of course, the people who get, fed up with their whole bullshit normal people business, the thing is, of course, you need some stimulation, some new input. And you think, yeah, but everything is settled. Okay, but that's the danger. You don't want to settle. How many times do you hear when retired people say they're gonna go nuts and they die very fast? Because they used to. Boom. Humans are not set on this planet to eat from the noses. You think when you would be a caveman, that you would sit the whole day eating from your nose or masturbate? No, you have to get out of the cave and find some, I don't know what you're eating over there in that time. I'm not in history. Maybe a mammoth, but you need a couple of guys to catch one, right? Those things were huge. I don't know what you're catching. But also when you would run around in the Amazon, you always need to hang around with a couple of other guys who are pretty much in shape. Because what are you going to do? Running with a beer belly after a baboon? I don't know what you catch over there. Not going to work like this. And I think it still works like it. You have to be a little bit in shape. Especially mentally. The reason that I do what I do and the daily regime is simply focused on a resilient mind. I train in the snow, hot, it doesn't matter. Who gives a rat's ass? Who gives a rat's ass? Nobody gives a rat's ass. And what I always say, the calisthenics steel, just cares as much as the people around you and life. They don't care if you do it or not. But they will notice if you're a little bit more in shape. They will say, hey, something weird about you. And then, of course, you get a little bit of negative load. You say, oh, yeah, you start focusing too much on your physique, or, are you gay? And then you exactly know that you have to get rid of those people because they want to keep you where you are. Trust me. Oh, my coffee. Anyway, don't be afraid. When you first start dreaming, allow yourself to dream, listen to your desires. and then maybe you go next level, you put in the work, maybe set in some habits that actually will get you faster where you want to be. Maybe you would listen to my bullshit a little bit more, and then you would say, oh, this idiot is not so crazy as he looks like, you know, because I'm always used to watch people, you know, sitting on yachts and drinking cocktails, because that's the way they live. Well, if you see the hundreds of videos of mine, you will see always the same, and it will be like this, no matter what. Maybe once I will sneak in a little bit of thing, but I don't have the urge to do so, because I lost a couple of times. Everybody is already dead and gone. So, well, you know, I smelled life, I touched life, and I experienced life, and I embraced life. So that's the whole thing. Anyway, don't be afraid to start fantasizing. Also, don't be afraid to look at yourself, you know. Face your everything. Just face it. Full throttle. Everything full throttle. Also, don't wait too long. You know, what is the biggest risk that you open now? A Google Doc. You start writing down a little bit what you want, and then you leave it alone for a year, and then you pick it up again. You know, let's assume you're not used to facing reality. Well, it's always a good start to do it somewhere. Always in your subconscious brain, it needs to going on, and subconscious thing is a very powerful thing, and not only a powerful thing, also something that is very hard to understand, which I'm also totally not getting into now. But you know, try to open a little bit your eyes, engage with the world. I think you would also feel way much more confident by you know, opening your own floodgates over here, so you can positively engage with the world around you. You're probably also going to start seeing things different. Maybe you're going to break up even with your girlfriend or your spouse, you know, and maybe you're a woman, you're watching. Only 21% of the people are women that are watching. Maybe 16% the last time I checked. Anyway, let's cut this thing. It's already 51 minutes. I also want to slaughter myself.